Okay, now how's it going there, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. We're gonna do a little box opening there today on these chainsaw chains that I bought. Now I bought a skip chain and a regular chain, whichever one is which there now. I can't see, but I bought one of each, and I just want to try out that skip chain. So first off, let me say that this is that 810 brand, 810, I think that's how you say that now, and it was a great deal. I got these chains for like $23 a piece, and that's a 28-inch bar now. It's a 91 drive link chain, and I have nothing against Stihl chains. Here's a brand new Stihl Oil-O-Matic chain there now, and Stihl makes great stuff, obviously. It's the OEM manufacturer recommended chain and everything. It's just, I can't say no to these prices. This video is not sponsored, obviously. I pay for my own stuff. So the thing with firewood is, at least at the end of it, it pays for itself and I get to make money out of it. The comparable Stihl chain to this 810, like I paid like $23.99, $24, call it, $24 for each of these. A Stihl 91 drive link chain. I just looked quickly, but they were running in the $43 to $45 range, and I even saw some that were completely ridiculous, but sometimes that happens online. The prices are crazy, so I'm not going to talk about. There were some that were just out of the ballpark, almost double that now. But you're talking $43 versus 23 or 24. So, you know, just trying to keep a tight budget and save a little money on my firewood and keep my margins down, I bought one of each of these chains now. So I did get a skip tooth, like I said. This is the full chisel skip tooth right here. So I'll open these up and show you what they both look like, and you can understand, you can visualize the difference between a skip tooth and a regular full chisel chain here shortly. But I did want to mention, if you want to know what kind of chain you buy for your chainsaw, and I've mentioned this before, this is just for the novices, but that information is right here on the bar on your chainsaws, and I may try to zoom in here and give y'all a closer look at that, but that'll tell you all of the chain information that you need. It gives you the pitch, the number of drive links. Yeah, it's all right there. You can take it into your saw shop and they'll tell you, but I haven't had any problem just using the numbers. I mean, you can usually just type in what kind of saw you have and the bar length, and a lot of times on the major websites there, it'll come up and pull something up, and it's usually right. 0.050, and it's 3/8 chain. So that's how you find out if you have no idea, if you just have a chainsaw that's old or you inherited it or whatever. It should be on the bar. If that information's worn out, you might be able, if you know how long your bar is and what model your saw is, you can usually type that in and find something. If not, I would contact your local saw shop and they'll be able to help you out further. Moving right along now. Okay, so let me open up these chains here and I'll show you the skip tooth versus the regular full chisel. Now, skip tooth isn't for all people. It's not for all situations and what have you. The advantages of a skip tooth is there's less cutting teeth. It skips a drive link, an extra drive link, so there's less cutting teeth on a 91 drive link chain than a full chisel, full house, or a normal chain, a regular chain. So that causes less drag in the wood. It's easier on your motor. It requires less power to pull all those cutting teeth through the wood. It's also better on large logs is the main thing too. When you're buried in a huge log with a long bar especially, that's a lot of torque to pull that chain through that wood. So with less cutting teeth, it allows for it's less drag, and then also it cleans out the debris a little bit better too, because those empty cutting teeth grab the dust and drag it like a sawdust drag, and it clears the debris out easier, and there's less debris and there's less drag. So all of that combined, It's better for large logs, a little bit easier on your saw. It's not going to cut as fast or as accurate as a regular chain with the full amount of teeth on it, but it does save some power. It's good for big wood. I wanted to try one out. You've seen the kind of wood I've been working on. I got a lot of big wood, so I just picked one up and I'll run one through and give it a try there. But let's open this up now and I'll give you a close-up and just show you the difference between a skip tooth and a regular. So here's the full chisel skip tooth, and we'll zoom in on that. Give me 1 second and I'll show you a close-up of these two chains. Okay, now if you can see that, this is your skip chain on top there, and you can see that there's 2 extra spaces on that chain now. This bottom chain here, you can see you got 1. So you got a cutting tooth, an empty space, and then your next cutting tooth. And that's your raker or your depth gauge there. So you can see the difference. There's an extra space which allows for less drag, and like I said, it cleans out easier, better for big wood. And I mean, this is some razor sharp chain, and it does come with a little line on it. I don't know if you can't hardly see it in this lighting, but it does have the you can't see it. You can't see that line on there. Sorry about that, but it does have these 810 chains do have the sharpening angle line on the back, so it helps you with your angle. I bought one of those. I think they were just some cheap China chains I got off of they didn't even have a brand. Who knows what the heck it was? I'd have to go look it up. It's some Jofuku or something, you know what I'm saying? I got some China chains and it doesn't have that little angle, and I kind of like having that because when you break off the top of a cutting tooth, that top cutting edge, and it breaks off on you or something and you get a real sharp edge, it's kind of nice sometimes to have that guide just to help you get it right back close to where it needs to be as you can, but doing it by hand. Now, I mean, you kind of get used to it, obviously, and you can just eyeball it and do it without, but it is nice to have the little line. So this does have the guides that will help you out there, and I'm going to be installing this on my saw soon. I don't think I'm going to do it in this video. I still have a little bit of life left in that chain, but man, I burned up that chain ever since I got that MS462. Now, these chains are kind of expensive at $24 a piece, and I still have some life left in that chain that came on the saw. But I think there's like 2 teeth that are almost gone. I mean, they might as well be broken off. They almost done broke off on me, you know. I broke the top plate off of them on something and then filed them down real good, and they're just little tiny posts. But that's only like 2 teeth, so the rest of the teeth are doing pretty good. Now, the other thing I want to mention is I've been using that Dremel tool to sharpen, and using a Dremel, it's so much faster, but you can take a lot of metal out of that thing. You know, it's a skill that you have to learn, and I think with it, it moves so fast that you don't want to get real crazy with it. You need to be quick and precise and kind of have a feather touch on it and get it done real quick. Just bzz, 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 and move on. Because if you sit there just grinding and grinding away on that thing, you just eat your teeth down to nothing. And it's not a good deal. You'll just burn through your chain. So I'm working on that. Work on my touch. Work on your angles to get it done quickly, smoothly, with a light touch, and efficiently. And I think that's worth doing. I do want to mention something else on the Dremel sharpening here while we're talking about chains and sharpening. The Dremel tool, it spins in a counterclockwise motion. Okay, so the bit spins counterclockwise, so that means when you're over top of your saw here and you're looking down at it, that bit is spinning counterclockwise. So the left side of your chain, it comes down from underneath and it scoops out real nice and comes up underneath the top plate and sharpens it from underneath the top plate. When you switch and you're coming at the right side of your chain, now you're coming into the top plate from the top down, hitting the top plate, and pushing down back into the tooth. I can try to visualize this for you, but I got oil all over my hands now. I don't want to grab my phone. Let me get my Dremel tool here. Okay, I got my Dremel tool here to help you visualize what's going on. Let me remove this here now. I know I'm kind of all over, but I wanted to get my Dremel tool. I figured that's the best way to show you what's going on. So this bit here is going to be spinning counterclockwise. So when you're on this right side of the chain, it's coming up underneath the cutting tooth from the bottom, sharpening from the bottom, from scraping and scooping from the bottom up. If you move to the, I'm going to have to try to zoom in on this damn thing here now. All right, now, so I kind of zoomed in. If you're over your saw now, and here's your Dremel tool, it's going counterclockwise. So if you put it on this tooth, it's spinning and coming up from underneath that tooth and sharpening nice up on the bottom edge of that tooth now, right there. It's a real nice setup. If you try to stay on the same side of the saw and you come into this next tooth, and the working corner is right here, pointed that way. The other working corner is on this side of the chain. So there's your working corner. I don't know if you can see that, but if you try to come on the same side and you're rubbing into that tooth, pressing and rubbing, what happened was it broke my file off right there, right in the middle, and that was because I was trying to come from the same side and use the counterclockwise motion to come in from the bottom and sharpen from up underneath. I just like that better, and unfortunately you can't move this in a counterclockwise direction is all I'm getting at. So I mean, what you have to do is you have to come to this side of the saw for that tooth now. So you're going counterclockwise, you're going this way. So now you're coming into the top of that tooth and sharpening in a downward motion, and the sparks get sprayed down. And I just like the feel of it better coming from the bottom and scooping it up and sharpening up underneath that top plate than I do when you're going counterclockwise and it's sharpening into the tooth against the grain, I feel like. So maybe the only way to get around that would be to somehow sharpen the bottom of the chain. Like if you switch sides and then turned it upside down, that may work. I haven't done the math on that yet. Okay, so anyways, that was what I learned from trying to do it over the if you try to just stand over the top of your saw and do this one and do that one and do this one and do that one, that's what'll happen is you'll break that file off, because that cutting point just it gouges right into that file and it just snapped it off. To switch sides obviously, but then you're filing against the grain from the top down into the tooth. Now it works, and it may not be worth worrying about. I just feel like I like the feel of it a lot better when you're coming from the bottom. So if there was a way, if you wanted to flip your saw upside down, or if you could sharpen the teeth when it was upside down on the bottom of the chain, I haven't really thought about it that much to figure out if it would work or not, but it seems like if you flipped directions and you were upside down, then it should work. So you do the math on that, but that's something just to kind of think about. If they had a reverse button on these Dremel tools, that would be really cool if you could run it in clockwise or counterclockwise, but I'm sure that's quite an undertaking to try to switch the direction of that motor. So now I have been on a rant about this, and this video kind of got all over the place on me there, but I wanted to share that little tip with you. I wanted to show you my new chains, talk about the prices on them, show you the difference in a skip chain versus a regular chain, and kind of talk about why you would use a skip chain in the bigger wood and easier on your motor and that type of thing. And hopefully you learned something in this video. If you did, or you just like hearing about it and watching somebody ramble on, give me a like and a subscribe there, nice feller, and I'm going to catch you guys next time. We're going to get out and do some cutting here soon and make some firewood, so Captain Crotch Hoarder will be back in the house. Hootski doot there now.